This is Grumpy SEO Guy, episode 45. What website will rank better? You're listening to Grumpy SEO Guy, the SEO podcast that doesn't waste your time with nonsense that doesn't work. I'm the Grumpy SEO Guy, and I'm sharing with you the strategies that have helped me successfully run my SEO agency for the last 14 years. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my knowledge and experience, discussing tips and strategies, and trying to help you cut through the confusion that permeates this industry. If you listen to this podcast, you will know more about SEO than 99% of people on the planet. Ready? Let's get started. I'm the Grumpy SEO Guy. Let me tell you why I'm grumpy today. I'm grumpy today because it seems like there are many out there who do not understand why websites get to the top of the search engine. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you two examples of websites, and we're going to talk about which one of those two is going to rank. So this episode is kind of like an exam because I'm going to give you a question and I want to know what your answer is, but I'm also going to tell you what the correct response is, so don't worry too much. And later on, I'm going to make another reference to this comparison between SEO and an exam. I hope it makes sense. So let's get started. But before we do that, my lawyer tells me that I have to say this right now. A quick disclaimer before we get started, everything I say here is based on my experience and opinion from 14 years in the industry. I don't officially know how Google or any other search engines work. Everything I say here is hypothetical and based on my experience. This podcast does not constitute advice or services. What worked for me may or may not work for you. Okay, back to the show. Okay, so let's call them website 1 and website 2. We're just going to use two websites in this example, okay? Both websites are going to be about blue widgets, okay? Website 1 has all right content. Like, let me tell you what I mean by that. If you didn't know anything about blue widgets and you went to this website, you would leave the website thinking, I somewhat understand blue widgets. Like, it's not super helpful. It's not bad, but it's just not clear and precise. It's not what I would call helpful, okay? It's just content. It's about blue widgets, but it's not really great content. It doesn't really tell you much. You know, it's okay. Like, it's decent content, I guess, okay? And website 1 with its decent content, okay, doesn't have any pictures, okay? It doesn't have a cool theme. In fact, it's literally just a giant paragraph, okay? Like, you type something in Notepad and then pasted it into your webpage. There's no formatting, there's no paragraphs, there's no images, okay? Now, it does have a title tag, but it's not a good title tag. It's not a title tag that somebody put a lot of effort into. It's like the blue widgets page. Like, come on. Like, that's not the best title tag in the world, okay? There's no headers, there's no H1 tags, there's no H2 tags, there's no meta tags, there's no meta keywords. It's just a giant block of text about blue widgets, and it's not very helpful, okay? Now, website 2 has phenomenal content. Now, let me tell you how good this content is. The content on this website was written by a blue widgets expert, okay? The person who wrote this content has like 2 PhDs in blue widgets, okay? Like, one of the smartest people on the planet when it comes to the topic of blue widgets, okay? Now, some people think that author bios matter. So let's just assume that the person that wrote this content, okay, has a legitimate LinkedIn profile, and it shows all of their experience and education and awards and projects and companies that they've done with blue widgets. And you can verify their double PhD in blue widgets. And it's like actually a real person, a real actual expert, not a fake internet expert, but a real actual expert, okay? And this person has 10 plus years of professionally working with blue widgets, okay? And this website tells you what blue widgets are and how to use them and how to buy them and how to fix them and the differences between every kind of blue widget, and it's the best content in the world. It's super helpful, absolutely amazing, okay? Super brilliant, helpful content. It's got a well thought out title tag. It has H1 tags. It has H2 tags. It has H3 tags even, okay? I think I already mentioned this, but it's got great pictures, many pictures on every page of blue widgets, okay? You can go to this website and you can leave this website and you will probably understand blue widgets better than everyone else in the world, except maybe the person who actually did the content, okay? Because remember, that person is like super blue widget expert with 2 PhDs in blue widgets, okay? So Now, we got these two websites. Remember, website 1 has a giant paragraph with no formatting, no theme, no pictures, no headers. It does have a title tag. That's pretty much all it has. It's very annoying to read, and the content itself isn't even great. Website 2 has paragraphs, because the first website was just a giant paragraph. This website has paragraphs and headers and a title tag and gorgeous pictures and excellent quality content that covers literally everything you could ever want to know about Blue Widgets. Extraordinarily helpful, useful, and truthful content, okay? So we're clear on the websites, right? Now, website 1, and I'm just making these numbers up, by the way. Website 1 has 400 referring domains linking to it and 500 backlinks total. So some of the sites link to it twice, but for the most part, it's got 400 referring domains, okay? Now, all of these domains are legit, and I'm not saying that these values matter, but let's just say that the DA is between 1 and 40 on these domains that link to it, okay? So some are like 1, they're not really that authoritative, and some of them are 40, you know, they're relatively authoritative domains, okay? So it's got 400 referring domains that range from 1 to 40 DA, and that's its backlink profile. Website 2 doesn't have any backlinks at all. Which website do you think is going to rank better in a search for Blue Widgets? Do you want to know the answer? It's website 1. Now, some people are going to disagree with this. People do not understand that what I just described is how search engines work. Search engines cannot figure out if content is helpful or not. Therefore, that's the reason they use authority and backlinks, because the assumption is that better quality content will get more backlinks and it will get better backlinks, and worse quality content will not. Why? Because nobody generally links to low quality websites. If you needed to link to a Blue Widget website, would you link to website 1 in our example, which is unhelpful and basically useless? Or would you link to website 2, which describes everything you could ever want to know about Blue Widgets? Which one of those is better? Website 2 is better. Now, website 2 doesn't rank because it doesn't have any authority. However, it's still better. So if you were linking from your website and you needed to reference a Blue Widget website, you would probably link to website 2 because it's better. That's the only way in which content matters. Content is not a ranking signal, okay? Good content, bad content, it doesn't get you bonus points, okay? You don't get an A in the search engines because you have good content, okay? You don't get rewarded by being awarded a top position in the search engine results because you have good content, okay? All it does is attract more links, maybe, if people can even find it. But if people can't find your website, the answer to your problem is not changing your content, it's getting authority. How do you get authority? You get authority with backlinks. That's why SEO agencies should be primarily focused on building authority, because it's basically the only thing that matters as long as you don't have a penalty, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Now, let me be very clear about this. I'm talking about from a search engine optimization standpoint. I am not talking about from a user experience, okay? We'll get to that in a minute. The only thing that search engines care about is authority and relevancy. Both of these websites have relevancy for Blue Widgets because they both have content that is about Blue Widgets, but only one of them has authority and only one of them ranks. And since I didn't mention it, assume that both of them are indexed. Okay, let's just assume that both websites are indexed, obviously. But the second website doesn't rank because it doesn't have any authority. All of that brilliant content written by the person with 2 PhDs in Blue Widgets and that expert, professional, amazing LinkedIn profile, that gets you 0 authority. Having good content gets you 0 authority and makes no difference at all in how you rank. Now, the only exception to that is if you have good content on your site, it is likely to maybe attract more backlinks if people can find it. But remember, if you don't rank, nobody's going to find it, so you're not going to get any backlinks. Now, do you remember in the beginning when I said this is kind of like an exam? Okay, this is where I'm going with that analogy. Search engine optimization is not like a project in school, okay? You don't get rewarded with rank by doing everything the way you're supposed to on page. Look, when you're in school and you get homework or a project or an assignment or something, if you do everything exactly the way you're supposed to, what happens? You probably get an A on it, right? Your teacher gives you an A, or you pass, or like whatever. The point is, you get a reward for doing everything the way you were supposed to. That's really cool for school projects and for homework, but search engine optimization doesn't work that way. You can have everything exactly the way it's supposed to be with H1 tags and title tags and good content with pictures and formatting, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because if you don't have authority, you don't rank. Period. That's how SEO works. And all the gurus and the scammers who are trying to tell you that content is king are wrong. I am flat out saying they are wrong. Search engines are not teachers, okay? SEO is not a project in school, okay? You don't get rewarded by doing everything according to a formula of I have to do this, and then I have to do this, and then this thing. And if I do everything right, my teacher gives me an A. That is not how search engine optimization works. Search engines only care about 4 things. The first thing they care about is not having a penalty. If you have a penalty, it doesn't matter how you do anything, you're not going to rank, period. Go listen to episode 2, which talks about how to identify, fix, and prevent penalties if you think you have a penalty. The second thing that search engines care about is content. But let me be very clear about this. It has nothing to do with how correct or incorrect the content is, and it has everything to do with, is there content on the site? It's very difficult to rank an empty page, although I have I have found pages that were empty that ranked, but that was like 10 years ago, and I don't think it's probably possible anymore, and I haven't seen anybody try it. I think it was just like a test to see if they could do it. It doesn't matter. You need content, but like with website 1, it doesn't have to be good content. It can be marginal. As long as it's not keyword stuffed and penalized, it counts. The third thing search engines care about is authority. More authority is better always. That's all there's to say about that. And the fourth thing they care about is relevancy. Now, I have a whole other episode on relevancy. It's episode 30. It's called What is the Difference Between Topical Authority, Relevancy, and Authority? So if you're not certain what relevancy is, go listen to episode 30. But the super short version is relevancy just means, what is the topic of my website? Is it about blue widgets? Is it about a different topic? That's all relevancy means. Now, another thing we talk about in that episode is you can get relevancy from things besides content. For example, with anchor text, you can suggest relevancy to the search engines. In other words, if you have a website, and this is all I'm going to say about this because this is like a detailed topic, so you should listen to that episode if you want to learn more about this. But if you have a website that is not about blue widgets at all, but you get enough authoritative backlinks that use the anchor text blue widgets, you might actually rank for blue widgets, even though your website is not about blue widgets. Think about that. Think about how that might change how SEO works. By the way, that's probably the biggest secret. And I don't want to use the word secret because secret always sounds scammy. Like SEO agencies are like, we know the secrets and you don't know the secrets and you have to pay us. And then we're probably still not going to do anything because they're just going to do content as king nonsense. But like, if there were secrets, that would be the biggest secret in SEO. But there are no secrets. And if you want to know how it works, go listen to episode 30. Anyway, those are the only things that a search engine cares about. 1, don't have a penalty. 2, have content. 3, get authority. 4, have relevancy. That's all you need. You don't need formatting or pictures or good quality content or H1 tags or literally anything else. You only need those 4 things. That's how search engine optimization works. It's not a reward. You don't get high praise from the search engines because you did everything the way you're supposed to and you have precisely the correct quantity of H2 tags in your content. Look, people care because that makes it easier to read. So let me just mention this about content really quickly. Content should be good, okay? Now, this has literally nothing to do with search engine optimization, and it has a lot to do with people, okay? Content should be good. If your website has good content, more people are going to want to read it, and you're probably going to provide a better experience for your visitors, which is the purpose of the internet in the first place, according to some people. But anyways, you should have good content. It should be easy to read, and it should be helpful, and it should be correct. But you know what? None of those things I just said are ranking factors. They matter 0 out of 10 when it comes to actually ranking. The only things that matter are the 4 things that I just mentioned. I'm going to say them again. 1, don't have a penalty. 2, have content. 3, have authority. 4, have relevancy. That's all you need to know. That is why website 1, with its relatively all right content and it's no formatting and it's no pictures and all the other stuff, and it's one giant hunk of text that like literally is a pain to read because they didn't even put paragraphs in it, but it has lots of backlinks from a lot of referring domains that are high quality, that aren't on C-class nonsense SEO hosting, and they're not over optimized, and they're not any of that other nonsense. That's why that website will always outrank website 2 with its brilliant content written by the foremost leader in blue widgets ever. Like, because content doesn't matter as far as search engines go. So I don't want to end this episode quite yet, so let's talk a little bit more about relevancy and how the search engines work. I've seen a lot of discussions recently about people basically complaining that the search engines don't work the way they think they should. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about how search engines work. So search engines cannot tell if content is good or not. And I've mentioned this before, but what would they even do to be able to tell? What kind of source material or training material would be needed? And if you think about it, if it was editorial or political, there isn't even necessarily correct. Look, just because somebody agrees with you doesn't mean that you're right. So if you search for something and you get results that agree with what you think, that doesn't mean they're accurate. It just means it's the same thing that you're thinking. So how would the search engines even learn the difference between correct and incorrect? I don't have an answer to that question, and probably people that are a lot smarter than me that actually work with big data and stuff probably don't have an answer to that either. But anyways, search engines don't work that way. But listen, search engines cannot tell good content from bad content. I don't care how much you think they can. I don't care how many thousands of dollars you wasted on some course from some SEO guru that told you content matters and helpful content will help you rank, because it won't. It literally has nothing to do with ranking. I don't care how much you think that. Listen, search engines can only determine how one website responds to another website, okay? So listen, because search engines cannot tell good content from bad, they cannot tell right content from wrong, they cannot tell helpful content from unhelpful content. They have to use how other websites react to those websites as a measure of how helpful content really is. As we've stated numerous times before, it is in the search engine's best interest to give you helpful content. And the reason is so you keep using that search engine and sometimes click an ad and the search engines make money, okay? But the search engine doesn't get paid by giving you good content. It gets paid by you returning to use the search engine again and again and again, and then feasibly you click an ad one of those times. But if a search engine gave you bad quality content, you would stop using that search engine and then you would never click its ads and it would make no money from you at all. That's why search engines are trying to give you good quality content, but they cannot tell if it's good or not from reading it. Algorithms don't work that way. Search engines don't work that way. And I don't care what guru is telling you that, they're lying to you, or they just don't understand how it works. Or as we'll talk about in a later episode, most SEO consultants don't even have experience actually doing SEO. This is a huge problem, by the way, in internet marketing and SEO in general. So that's going to be a frustrating episode. Like, I figure most of you guys probably know this already, but let me just say, I've already said numerous times and explained where I got these numbers from, that 99% of SEO agencies and consultants are scammers. But I'm telling you now, most SEO agencies and consultants have not even done SEO, okay? They're not in a position to even be giving advice or selling services, but they are. And I'm going to tell you why that is in a future episode. Anyway, let's discuss this one more time really quick, just so we're all on the same page. We had two websites. One had horrible quality content. It didn't have paragraphs. It had a title. I'll give you that. But it didn't have headers. Any of them. It didn't have any headers at all. It didn't have any pictures. It didn't even have paragraphs. It was just a giant piece of text that somewhat, but not really, talked about blue widgets. And the other website had brilliant content written by a professor of blue widgets, okay, with like 10 years of experience doing everything you can even picture with blue widgets, like just the smartest person in the world on the topic of blue widgets, okay? It had paragraphs and themes and pictures and H1 tags, and it also had a title tag, and it was just the most incredibly helpful, amazing, wonderful website in the world about blue widgets, okay? So website 1 is basically garbage, and website 2 is pretty awesome, okay? Website 1 has 400 referring domains linking to it, and they're all quality. They're all quality domains. They're not low quality. They're not spammy. They're not on C-class hosting nonsense, okay? And website 2 doesn't have any backlinks at all. This means website 1 will rank, and website 2 will not rank. That is how SEO works. Forget everything that you have heard about content mattering, because it doesn't. Search engines cannot tell the quality of content, nor can they tell how helpful it is, nor can they tell anything else other than how other websites respond to that content. That is why authority matters. That is why search engines are set up the way they are. I hope this makes sense. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoy this podcast, please leave a review. It would really help the show out. I hope this episode was helpful. If you have any questions or want to suggest a subject for a future episode, you can contact me on Reddit. My username is Grumpy SEO Guy. You can visit the Grumpy SEO Guy subreddit, or you can email me at hello@grumpyseoguy.com. If you email me, please either whitelist my email address or check your junk folders, because I've been told that my replies are going into the junk folder, and it's probably because we're talking about things like SEO and backlinks, and I think those words will classify an email as spam. And if you want to support the podcast, because it's the best source of SEO information on the planet, and it's free, you can do so at patreon.com/grumpy SEO Guy. And I will talk to you later. You're listening to Grumpy SEO Guy, the SEO podcast that doesn't waste your time with nonsense that doesn't work. Join us next Wednesday when we talk about good content versus bad content, and why EEAT is not a ranking factor.